After the turbulent time that has been the last 5 weeks, hopefully we are moving forward. So I thought today, excuse the voice, I've got some kind of cold coming on, but I thought this week I'd give you a bit of an update on Molly and let you know what the plan is.
What's your story? What's your sign? It's like we're twin flames in a different life. Deep connection lights a spark. It's like you know me in the depths of my heart. We're dreamers. Don't care what other people say. We live it like this could be our final day.
Molly came to me direct from the trainer. If you haven't seen her arrival, there is another vlog on that I go into detail about where she came from, the thought process, everything like that. Here is Moles. She came significantly under condition and underweight, and she's been here now. How long have you been here, Moles? 3 weeks now, going on for 4 weeks, and she's slowly putting some nice condition on. I am going to weigh tape her, and then I thought, actually, I'll tell you about the feed and everything else. But Molly unseen, so the first few weeks for me is basically just trying to figure out who she is, what she likes, any issues. Obviously she was vet checked before she came here, she was strangles tested, etc. So all that bit was done, but you just don't know their personality, you don't know their quirks, and I was a little bit reserved at first as to kind of what they are and trying to find the boundaries. Moles has come like with a real good attitude, real good personality. I've got no real complaints, Mole, I don't think. She's a mare, so she still has her moments where she's a little when she doesn't want to do something, but I'm quite keen to listen to that and, you know, not push her to certain things. So let's weigh her, we'll go through feed, and then we'll go through a bit of a work schedule. So Molly finished racing in October last year, and she's had some downtime since then. There is a debate on whether you have downtime or not. I'm indifferent. I think it depends on each individual horse. She has had a good fair bit of downtime, and this week in particular she is having like a full MOT. So she's having the farrier out, she's had a worm count done, she's having the physio out, she's had tack fitted, so we can make sure that she's in the perfect condition to just crack on. And then I literally will crack on with the retraining. She's backed, but she's racing backed, and over the next few vlogs hopefully I'll show kind of what that means, what that looks like, and what things that I think you have to do. Point to note, I am not here saying this is how you should do things. This is just what experience I've had, this is what I've found, and each horse is an individual. Nor am I asking for advice either. I've got trusted people that I go to for advice, but that's not what my vlog is about. People might say it's not the right way to go around things, people might not agree, but you know what, we all have is different ways, and yeah, that it is. Right, let's get the weight tape. Weight tape in situ. So I know I've said before, these aren't 100% accurate, but they're a good gauge for seeing if things are moving in the right direction. And in particular for me, when like a new horse comes in, I want to make sure that they're able to gain weight and there's not some kind of any underlying problems that is the reason why they come so lean. So right, Molly came in at 470. And she has been slowly gaining weight. I do this weekly. She has been slowly gaining weight each week. So we'll see on week 3 what that is. Moose. Go. She's not freaked out by a lot of things, which is great. Thank you. So Molly weighs in at a fantastic 504. I'm mega impressed with that, really impressed. So she's putting on average about 10 kilos a week. Girl! And she's looking a lot better. So you'll see, if you see from the original video, in fact, I'll pop in now what Molly came like. If you compare that to now, she's obviously very still lean here, but her ribs are being covered. No, sweetheart. Her ribs are getting some coverage, and top line will come from work when we start kind of working her properly. So yeah, pleased. Right, I'll show you what I feed. I have an opinion on feed and feeding. lot of research into exactly what is the best thing to feed horses, what their stomachs, what their physiology is, and how we should be feeding towards that. And I will say now, controversial point, probably 80% of horses that are in light to moderate work do not need any hard feed whatsoever. It's just a multi-million-pound industry, and they make us believe, they prey on our insecurities. And let's be honest, we all love mixing a feed up and giving it to our ponies, but actually the majority of them don't need it, and it's just a waste of money, and probably is why we have so many overweight horses as well at the minute. So number one for me is forage. This is the key. This forage too. So I had a sponsorship with Horse Age for a year, and they helped me compete the boys. However, I don't have that sponsorship anymore, but still buy their product. So I absolutely love the Timothy haylage, and it's because it is low in starch and sugar. And in particular, when you're dealing with ex-race horses, thoroughbreds, to be honest, a lot of horses in work that is fed quite, that has probably restricted grazing and is fed quite a lot of hard feed, they are susceptible to ulcers. So anything that I can do to assist that and help with stomach comfort, I will do. So yeah, I have a Timothy horse hage, and I also have from our local farmer some quality hay. And again, I think in one of my very first vlogs I give you information on how you can get that tested, so you can see exactly what's in it and what it contains. Number one, forage. Also turnout to the feed room. So Molly is on hard feed, and that's just simply because she's underweight and she needs kind of something to bring that weight back on her. So once we've sorted out the forage, I also look at hard feed. Again, controversial point. Supplements, I feed very little of. You'll see some supplements around and I'll go through them, but I feed very few, because again, the science behind supplements is just not there. So an example being when you are informed to feed garlic to prevent flies. Actually, if you look at the research done in that, the amount of garlic that you would have to feed for it to ever be useful as a fly repellent is huge. And therefore, there's probably no benefit to you feeding the garlic at all. Similar to glucosamine, which is scientifically proven to be good for joints. Make sure you check the load rates that are in the supplements by well-known manufacturers, because I think it's something like 70% of them do not have the correct amount for it to ever be beneficial. So you're just wasting your money, and I'm all here for like saving cash. So what do I feed? Currently, Moll is only on a probiotic for gut balance. Boys, it was vet recommended with Reg, who suffered colic, etc. It's just a good preventative, and I use whichever's cheapest. So currently, I'm on the NAF Daily Gut Health, because it's 70-day supply for the cash that you need. Right, hard feed. Oh, let me open my bins. My old mare, who's 29, doesn't have hard feed, never has had hard feed in her life. She has forage. Right, feed. So I feed quite minimal. So first off, here we have, this is the Dengie, I think it's Dengie Hi-Fi chaff, but I would just say good quality chaff, and I use that mainly as a filler, so to increase the time that she is eating her food and chewing it, and it's just, yeah, it's a good base filler. Next, she has this scoop, 1 scoop twice a day, and this is soaked, and this is the Saracen Relieve Mix. It's one of the best pre-packed, pre-combined mixers that I've found that really suited the boys, and it's really suiting Molly too. Again, there's a lot of science behind this. If you look at the ingredients, it is really just plain ingredients, and you probably would be able to get it separate, but I do it just for ease, to be honest. And yep, you pay a little bit for that. And this, which is a stabilized rice bran, comes under many brand names. So this is Key Plus, but it's Omega Rice, it is Saracen Equijule, it is Top Coat, and again, I use whichever brand is cheapest at the time. So she gets that twice a day, in a morning feed and a evening feed, and it's working well. So yeah, I would just say tips with feeding, less is more. Make sure you read the ingredients. Don't be duped by all these claims for magical feeds that do magical things, because they don't. Balancers are another one. Balancers basically is like a multivitamin, a vitamin and mineral. And unless your horse is deficient, waste of time. It's like people and multivitamins. Waste of time. Anyway, it's probably why I've not spoke about feeding, because it is a topic that irritates me slightly when you see all these, it's going to give you top line and everything else. It's really not. Just do your research. That's all I'm saying. Do your research. One of the other problems when she came was the basics of stop and go. So I've done a lot of work in just walking her and getting her to respond to, when we say we want to move, we move, and when we stop, and we go back like that. And we just learn about personal space. Quite a lot on the groundwork, which I'll go through on another vlog. Anyway, one of the issues Molly did have when she came, and she's still got that issue now, is tying up. In that Molly doesn't tie up. So Molly prefers to pull back against any pressure, which has been a challenge, shall we say. We always assume like the basics, that a horse will come with the basics, but when they come from a racing yard, they just don't have sometimes they just live a different life there. They just don't have the basics as what we would expect in a standard riding environment. So I'm teaching Molly at the moment that we stand and we have to be tied up at certain points. I mean, you know, hopefully she will be eventing and she'll be tying up to lorries, etc. So yeah, so how do we do that? Well, I always have baling twine so things can break, but what I'm doing at the moment is just looping it through and not tying it at all, and just getting her to stand there while I am doing things around her and making sure that she understands that sometimes we have to stand for things to be done. For Molly, once she feels that pressure, she will pull to the point of not stopping. Well, she doesn't have that pressure at the minute, and yeah, we're doing small bits every day, and hopefully what I'll do then as she goes to walk off is I'll just hold the rope so that she knows that there is some pressure, but I can control how that is. I'll push her back, stand, good girl. And so she's learning, good girl. And it's just time and patience. And again, stand, good girl. She will be a good girl soon and tie up. Perfecto. Really, that's the only issue that I've found so far. So what does her work look like? Let's go and have a look at the board because it's actually on there. So she's done a little bit of groundwork. So she's been learning about going forward. She's been learning about we stand and we go back and we don't come into our space. And she's done really well with that. She's very quick and she picks it up brilliantly. So I'm starting this week with just basic lunging. So I've already lunged her literally nothing. So just a head collar and a lunge line, and seeing how she looks at the school and everything like that. The only issue she's got with that is a little bit of separation anxiety. But I'll show you now what initially that looked like. I'll do a voiceover as well so I can explain exactly how I overcome some bits. So this was our first session, and I did start with a lunge whip. I'm not a fan of chasing them, but I do use it. I used to use it with Mo to just keep on the shoulder to keep them out, because she had no idea what I was asking her to. She was also very anxious and always wanted to school kind of in the top corner. So after this kind of incident here where she's just pulling, she's not listening, she's just pulling to go to the top corner, I decided to change a few bits. So I got rid of the whip. It wasn't helping. She was quite scared of it. Don't know what's happened in the past with her. So I was just using the end of the lunge line to just kind of usher along, and I schooled her in the top section of the school near the stables so she felt more comfortable. And as you can see, it just settled her down. She continued to do some nice work. Just makes me a little bit happy. I mean, we're not here to kind of upset her more or upset her at all, to be honest. I was really pleased with this first session. So as you can see, it's going really well. She's such a quick learner and I'm really impressed with everything so far. I've got no real problems with her. So our week looks a little bit like this. Today we had a day off Monday. We're going to have the lunge, but I'm going to pop a roller and some very, very loose side reins. Now, I'm not in any way wanting to tie her head down. I had a bridle and saddle and everything fitted, so I just wanted to start getting that contact feeling a little bit in her mouth without me messing about with it. And then we're going to lunge her with the tack, and then we're going to have a go at long reining, with the goal of this week just being to comfortably work with tack on. So yeah, right. So today I'm going to pop the lunge roller on and see what she feels of it. So come along. I'm going to take you guys along.
Promise you this: if you try to get some sleep, if you give up the fight, if only just for a bit.
Let's go to the school. So here I'm just putting the side reins on. Like I said, they are very, very loose. I'm not in any way trying to pin her down at all. And I just wanted to go around just accepting a little bit something different than what was before. And again, I'm in the top end of the school where she feels more comfortable and she's working great. This is her better rein.
There's a new day to take away your sorrow.
So I switched on to the other rein now, and she does find this side a little bit more difficult. Again, ex-racehorses that I've found tend to find it easier to the left because that's how they race. And she just automatically wants to go into a canter. So I'm trying to take my time just to get her to relax, stretch down. And in the end, she did. Pleased. So I thought that session went really well. I was really impressed how at the end she did settle and she was getting more into a relaxed being. We're still working on separation issues, but I'm trying to work very hard on getting her used to being comfortable in her own skin. So for example, at night I will fetch her in and she'll be away from them, and we started at like 10 minutes and now she's up to an hour and a half and she's very comfortable being in. And then it's just different situations. So it's going in the school, and as I've mentioned previously, I will lunge her in the top end of the school because that's where she feels more comfortable at the moment. And I'm not here to try and make anything in her life more stressful or difficult. She's had a big enough change as it is. And I think we have to remember as well, like, horses will take a good, I think, 4 to 6 weeks to settle in at a new place. But on the whole, I'm really pleased with that. So these are what these vlogs are going to be, little and often, to show you that progress. And know that if you have got an ex-racehorse, you're not alone. They all have these little quirks. Even if they've been through the retraining process with somebody else, they've still got little quirks that they come with. However, I will still say that they are the most amazing horses that you could ever wish for. And once retrained correctly, they can do anything that you want them to do. So I'm going to leave you now with a little bit of fun footage that me and Tan took at the weekend when we decided to just free school Moll a little bit and see if she had any of that eventing potential. Let me know in the comments what you think. Peace out, peeps. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next week. Keep it real.
It is waiting for us. There's a new day waiting round the bend. There's a new day, and it will restore us. There will be